In the smoldering ruins of post-war Europe, one name echoes with infamy: Joseph Goebbels, the master of lies, the architect of illusion, the man who turned truth into clay and molded it for power. He didn't just lie, he engineered reality. But what if I told you that his methods didn't die with the fall of the Third Reich? What if they were quietly repackaged, refined, and rebranded? What if they're alive today, not in Nazi uniforms but in the polished suits of politicians, media moguls, and tech CEOs? This is not just the story of Goebbels, this is the story of us. In the United States, in Canada, in the UK, in Germany, in France, in Australia, the entire Western world. This is the modern face of propaganda. To understand today's reality, we must first examine Goebbels' rules. He believed that propaganda wasn't merely persuasion, it was warfare against perception. Here are some of his guiding principles. A lie told once remains a lie, but a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. Propaganda must be simplified and appeal to emotions, not intellect. Always provide the people with a visible enemy. The best propaganda is that which is invisible. He used repetition to engrave lies into the national psyche. He simplified complex crises into black and white morality tales. He turned minorities into monsters. And above all, he controlled the narrative at all costs. Fast forward to today. In the land of the free, where freedom of speech is a constitutional right, we are bombarded by 24/7 media, flooded by social platforms, and guided by invisible algorithms. But how free is a mind that is constantly manipulated? Let's look at some modern tactics in the US, and how they echo the Goebbels doctrine. Russia, 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 weapons of mass destruction, flatten the curve, trust the science. The phrases change, but the method stays the same: repetition. The same talking points cycle across CNN, Fox, MSNBC. Social media trends are dominated by carefully crafted slogans. Each narrative endlessly repeated until it seeps into public consciousness. This isn't education. This is conditioning. Goebbels once said, "Propaganda works best when those who are being manipulated are confident they are acting on their own free will." What better way to ensure compliance than fear? In the US, fear drives the news cycle. Fear of terrorism, fear of pandemics, fear of climate change, fear of the other party. It doesn't matter which side you're on. The fear keeps you locked into a team, a tribe, a worldview. And when you're afraid, you don't question, you obey. Under Goebbels, Jews were blamed for Germany's decline. Today, the West creates new scapegoats: immigrants taking your jobs, billionaires hoarding your wealth, Antifa, MAGA, the unvaccinated, the elite, the deep state. In each case, a visible enemy is crafted, not to solve the problem, but to focus the rage. Goebbels turned Hitler into a messiah figure. In the United States, we've seen similar personality cults, on both sides. Donald Trump's supporters hail him as a savior. Barack Obama was portrayed as the voice of hope and change. Media doesn't just report on leaders anymore, it markets them. Charisma becomes credibility. Image replaces substance. Goebbels used brute force to silence opposition. Modern America uses subtler weapons: fact-checkers funded by powerful interests, deplatforming under the guise of safety, shadow banning, demonetization, and algorithmic suppression. No one is jailed for speech, but their reach is quietly smothered. It's censorship, in a tuxedo. But make no mistake, this isn't just an American phenomenon. The Goebbels playbook has been adopted by almost every Western democracy. Let's zoom out. BBC, the crown jewel of British journalism, is often aligned with state interests. During the Iraq War, dissenting views were minimized. Brexit coverage oscillated between fear-mongering and nationalist fervor. Tabloids like stoke emotion, not intellect, just like Goebbels advised. Fear, division, simplification. Sound familiar? During COVID-19, dissenting scientists were labeled dangerous and excluded from debate. Government-funded media, like CBC, created dependency that subtly molds their reporting. New legislation pushes tech platforms to prioritize approved sources, boxing in public discourse. In a country built on free speech and pluralism, subtle censorship thrives under soft language. Germany, the birthplace of Goebbels' machine, now wears the cloak of liberal democracy. Yet, alternative voices on issues like the Ukraine war or EU policies are marginalized. Social media bans and speech laws targeting hate are vague and overreaching. The state funds media under the pretext of stability and accuracy. The irony? The nation most haunted by propaganda now flirts with it again. Fake news laws allow for preemptive removal of content before elections. Media outlets are mostly aligned with corporate or state interests. Protests, like the Yellow Vests, are often framed as chaos rather than legitimate dissent. France speaks the language of revolution but increasingly fears revolt. Australia leads in digital censorship laws, framing them as protection against harmful content. During the pandemic, critics of lockdowns or mandates were sidelined or labeled extremists. New Zealand's government proudly boasted, "We are your single source of truth." That sentence alone would have made Goebbels smile. In Goebbels' time, propaganda spread through radios and newspapers. Today, the weapon is the algorithm. Your newsfeed is a curated reality tunnel. Your search results are filtered. Your YouTube suggestions are pre-chewed narratives. Your TikTok trends are behavioral programming. You're not just being informed, you're being shaped, passively, constantly, invisibly. Goebbels needed massive rallies. Today's propagandists need a Wi-Fi signal. Let's be clear. Modern Western nations are not Nazi Germany. There are no death camps, no total war machines, no singular dictator, but there's something more insidious now. We believe we are free. We believe we are choosing. We believe we are informed. Yet behind the scenes, perception is managed, dissent is filtered, fear is farmed, anger is weaponized, and the most powerful propaganda is the one you don't even notice. We live in a world of soft totalitarianism, where you aren't forced to believe the narrative, you're seduced into it, where your enemies aren't jailed, they're shamed, canceled, demonetized, where the government doesn't need to burn books because no one reads them anymore. Goebbels said that's not just history, that's your Twitter feed. This video is not an attack on any one country or ideology, it's a warning. Propaganda is not the tool of the past, it is the language of power, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And if we don't learn to see it, to question it, to challenge it, we will not be citizens, we will be subjects, trapped not by chains but by beliefs that were never truly ours. But first, you have to let it out of its cage. Before you go, if this deep dive into propaganda, past and present, opened your eyes, made you think twice, or challenged your perspective, give this video a like to help it reach more critical thinkers like you. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next expose that uncovers what others try to keep hidden. And tap the bell icon, because in a world ruled by algorithms, truth needs a louder voice. This isn't just content, it's resistance.